Has your GLP-1 stopped working? Are you doing everything right and the scale is not moving? Don't give up just yet. Grab your pen and paper, your little cute protein coffee, and let's go to class. I'm gonna tell you why you may have plateaued, how to break out of that plateau, and if you're just starting your GLP-1, how to avoid this part of the journey, because we don't have time for that. My name is Lenore. I am a certified nutritionist on a GLP-1. I know what to do, I just need a little help doing it. I've lost about 13 pounds in about 5 weeks. I'm using my knowledge to get the best results possible while using a GLP-1 and to help you too. If you're here, you're probably weighing yourself and not seeing the scale move. You've been going up and down the same 2 to 3 pounds, and every day you're like, WTF, what is happening? And now your adherence is starting to suffer. So let's find out what's going on. First, what is a plateau? It's basically a period in which your weight remains the same, even though your diet and exercise has remained the same. Now let's see if you are in a plateau, okay? We're gonna ask ourselves 3 questions. Have you weighed the same for at least 4 weeks? Now this doesn't mean that you're weighing the exact same for 28 days straight, because our weight does fluctuate. But have you remained the same for the last 4 weeks? Our weight does tend to fluctuate because of high sodium meals, hormonal changes, whether or not you've pooped. Which, let's be real, when you're on a GLP-1, that could be a real challenge. Because our weight fluctuates so much, it is good to take an average of your weight for the week. So for example, here's 7 days of weigh-ins. Now you're gonna add up the 7 days, which is gonna equal 1404. Now to get to the average, you're going to take that 1404 and divide it by 7, the number of weigh-ins you have. So if you only weighed yourself 6 times out of the week, you would just divide it by 6. Now this is gonna give you 200.6 for week 1 of your weigh-ins. Okay, now let's do another week for funsies so I can show you something. Okay, here's next week's weights. Now this week's total is 1395 and we're gonna divide by 7. And that's gonna give you 199.3. So we've got an average of 200.6 and then an average of 199.3. And that gives you a total weight loss of 1.3 pounds. But let's say you weigh in only on shot day, the day that you give yourself the injection, and that weigh-in is Saturday. So let's take Saturday's weigh-in. You weigh in at 199 on shot day for week 1, and then you weigh in again at 199 on shot day in week 2. You didn't even see the low weight on week 2 of 198. Okay, so if you don't wanna do the average, if you don't wanna do the math, you can always just take the lowest weight from week 1 and the lowest weight from week 2. The average does tend to work out a little bit better for you. Okay, so let's say that your numbers haven't really changed that much. Your photos aren't showing any changes and your measurements aren't changing. This isn't just 1 week of not losing. This is a pattern of 4 weeks of not seeing changes even though your exercise and diet remain the same. Now, let's move on to question number 2 to see if you are in a plateau. Now it's time to do a reality check. You are gonna have to get real with yourself. Are you eating the same? Are you watching your portions? Are you mindlessly snacking or not, just snacking? Remember, an extra small bag of chips and a soda could equal 300 calories a day. 300 calories times 7, that's 2,100 calories a week, and that can absolutely have an impact on your weight loss. 3,500 calories equals 1 pound, and you've already eaten an extra 2,100 calories for the week, and that's just counting the extra bag of chips and soda or whatever extras that you're eating. Sometimes this can mean maybe going out to eat a little bit extra, because those calories tend to add up even more quickly because of all the extra oil, butter, and fun, yummy stuff that they put in your meals. When you go to a restaurant, their #1 goal is to make it the tastiest, not the most nutritious. So you don't have to actually track your calories, but maybe it's a good idea to just journal what you're eating and you can kind of see a pattern. Maybe there are days where you tend to eat a little bit extra. Maybe it's right before shot day, you're eating a little bit more than normal. I realized that at the beginning of my journey, that first week, I just let the medication just do the work on determining whether I was hungry or not, but I really wasn't super focused on nutritious meals. So I really had to focus and be more intentional about eating the good things and trying to keep the processed foods, the junk, and the going out to eat, keeping that to a minimum. Okay, so let's say we've determined you've weighed the same for 4 weeks and your eating habits have remained the same. We've got one more question to ask. That's number 3. Has your activity remained the same? When you started this journey, did you go balls to the wall, walking extra, doing more classes, just being way more active at the beginning? You're doing 10,000 steps, you're running, you got your vest, you're doing all the things. But maybe this last month or two, you've reduced your activity, you're just a salty little couch potato, binging the latest Netflix series, and then you're just marinating in the shame of your scale not moving. And that just makes it worse. Okay, so that's a little dark, but I've been there. When the scale doesn't quite move the way I want it to, I tend to get in my feelings. I notice that my activity changes, my habits change because I'm letting that cause stress and I am just hungrier and I'm just eating my feelings. So those are just habits you need to really watch. Again, I think the journaling is absolutely important in just understanding how you feel that day and then what you ate that day. And maybe you don't have to track all your meals, but maybe when you felt a little more stressed, you ordered out instead. And those are a lot more calories than if you were to make that same exact meal at home. Okay, so let's say none of this applies to you and you have in fact weighed the same, your eating and exercise habits have remained the same. Then you have entered into the plateau. This is what we call metabolic adaptation or adaptive thermogenesis, if you want to know the sciencey words. What this means is that your body is adjusting its energy expenditure depending on the food intake and other environmental changes. And this can mean an excess of food or what we are doing, a decrease in your food intake. But if you're on a GLP-1, this decrease may be a little bit steeper than normal. So let's say your body got used to the way you were eating. If you're here watching this video, then you probably ate a little too much and we exercised a little too little, a little too little. Then you get on this wonderful GLP-1 and you're not hungry, so you're eating a lot less than what your body was used to. And everything seems great because the scale is moving, but your body is adjusting and you are losing way too quickly. So your body is freaking out and it's saying, oh shit, this girl is starving, I need to fix it. So your body basically starts to fight it and it's adjusting its energy. It's slowing down. This is your metabolism starting to slow down. Your metabolism is all these chemical reactions in your body converting food into energy. And this is what's slowing down. It breaks down all the nutrients you're consuming and uses it for growth, repair, and a ton of other life-sustaining functions. Now remember, I say it all the time, your metabolism is directly related to the amount of muscle you have on your body. And with quick weight loss, you are losing fat, but you're also losing muscle. The quicker you lower your calories and you start to lose weight, the more muscle you are going to lose. Now, once you get to the point of a plateau, your body is in survival mode. Your metabolism is freaking out a little bit and it's saying, whoa, we need to slow this down because she's not giving us enough energy. So we're gonna have to use that little bit of energy that we are receiving to make sure that we're able to survive. So not only does it slow down your energy expenditure, it also triggers your hunger hormone. So it increases your appetite because it wants you to eat. This is a true plateau that's happening. So now that your body has adapted to the amount of calories you are taking in, what normally happens is people want to lower their calories even more. But with being on a GLP-1, a lot of people are only eating 800 to 1,000 calories. So if you continue to lower your calories, we don't really have much to work with. We have nowhere to go. So at what point do you stop? And when your body is in survival mode, your metabolism is working. It's not broken, it's working, but it is focused on keeping you alive. Then it stops working on breaking down the nutrients to perform the essential functions of your body, which is when you'll see hair loss, weak nails, exhaustion. You're cold all the time, you can't focus, your hormones are out of whack. Again, your metabolism isn't broken, it's just trying to keep you alive. Okay, so how do we avoid this? How do we avoid a plateau happening and happening quickly, right? The plateau is going to happen quicker the faster you lose weight. And some of you don't want to hear this, but it is time for a diet break. And the scientific way to explain it is you take a break from your diet. Okay, so a diet break is just that, taking a break from your diet. It is the second phase of a fat loss cycle, right? The first is the calorie deficit. That's when we're reducing our calories to lose fat. A diet break is just taking time to eat in your maintenance calories, the calories it takes for you to maintain your weight. In a calorie deficit, we're reducing those calories. In maintenance, we're consuming calories to maintain our weight. And a surplus is when you're eating more than your maintenance calories in order to gain weight. Most people are eating in a surplus to gain weight, but to also gain muscle. So while we're on this GLP-1, we are really focused on a calorie deficit, which is what happens when the GLP-1 starts to work. It lowers our appetite so that we eat less, right? So that just happens on its own. Then it's time for a diet break. Okay, and this could just mean eating about 500 calories more for about 7 to 14 days. If you're someone who's very lean, you tend to plateau very quickly. You probably need to take more diet breaks. But if you're someone who is used to eating more food, this takes a lot longer to happen because we have a lot more to work with. I usually tell people to take a diet break after about 16 weeks, which is about 4 months. If you have a lot of weight to lose, you could even go about 20 weeks, about 5 months before taking a diet break. Okay, one of the things that I didn't mention in the original video is we are basically forcing our bodies to take a break before we experience this plateau of not losing. So you can be strategic about being in this diet break rather than not knowing if you're in a plateau, taking weeks and weeks to do it. So it's just kind of a strategic move to help you get into fat loss quicker after being in maintenance for a couple of weeks. And this diet break is just giving our metabolism some energy to work with so that it doesn't stay in survival mode. So every 4 to 5 months, you should take a diet break. You take about 7 to 21 days off, and then you go back to your deficit of 4 to 5 months until you get to your goal. During the diet break, you want to make sure that you're continuing your strength training. In fact, because you're eating more, you are able to build muscle more easily while you're eating more calories. Your muscles love calories in order to build. That's why you see those bodybuilders eating so much food in order to add muscle to their body. When you are in a surplus and you're trying to build muscle in a bulk, you're gonna be gaining fat too. So you have to be very careful when you're on a diet break because you are eating more. You wanna make sure you're not eating too much more. And honestly, if you lost 30 or 40 pounds in 4 to 5 months and you gain 5 pounds during maintenance, the benefit is going to be greater because you'll be able to lose even more during your next fat loss phase. A diet break is not the time to go crazy and go balls to the wall and eat all the things and drink all the alcohol. It's really about eating the healthy things, just eating a little more, especially things that tend to have a little more calories but are still nutritionally dense, like avocados or nuts, butter. You can use those things to add more calories to your day, but you're still eating all your protein and all your fruits and veggies. So it's not oh my gosh, we're gonna go out to eat all the time and we're gonna have all this stuff. Of course, you could have a little sweet treat, add that to your day. That's kind of the fun of a diet break, but we wanna try and keep it healthy, yes? Now, trying to do this on a GLP-1 is the tricky part because some of us don't have that much of an appetite. I decided to take a week off my GLP-1 and I was able to talk to my provider and it's fine. I am not a doctor. I am not a GLP-1 expert. Anything I tell you on this channel is my experience and my experience only. I am strictly a nutritionist. I can tell you how your body reacts to food you consume, how different nutrients can affect you, how you can lose fat, gain muscle, or maintain. That's what I can tell you. So please consult a doctor before making any decisions. If anything, maybe this is a conversation that you can have with your doctor. But when it comes to GLP-1s and dosage and how often, that is with your doctor or healthcare provider. But I can tell you that losing weight too quickly is going to cause you to lose muscle. And if you're not eating enough calories and you're not resistance training at least twice a week or consuming enough calories, even in your deficit, you will plateau at a quicker rate than if you lost at a normal rate. Now, what's losing at a normal rate? A safe rate of weight loss is about 1% of your weight. So if you weigh 250 pounds, that's about 2.5 pounds a week. And I know a lot of us have lost more than that, but maybe this is the time that you can kind of think of, okay, maybe I should focus on eating just a little bit more so my weight loss isn't so drastic, which is so hard because all we want to do is lose weight. I know. So if you weigh 180 pounds, that would be about 1.8 pounds a week. So this is why the smaller you get, the less weight you start to lose every week. Okay, so let's say you just started, you're at the beginning, you're feeling good, but you notice that you're losing weight very quickly. How can we avoid the plateau? Just make sure you're eating, small meals, nutritious meals, eat your protein. Make sure you're having a protein source in every meal and focus on high fiber, nutritious foods. I have a link in the description with the protein sources and fiber sources if you're looking for that. And be more active throughout the day. This doesn't mean your exercise. This is just your daily non-exercise activity. This could be walking, this could be gardening, this could be yoga, stretching, playing with your kiddo. This doesn't have to be designated exercise time. That is a separate way to lose weight. We're looking at being more active throughout the day, which is helping our metabolism. So this will keep your weight loss going and your body won't be starving. So you won't have the crazy side effects, which is the hair loss and the exhaustion, because your body is getting enough calories even through the calorie deficit. And just remember, it took us a while to get here. It took time for us to eat the bad things or eat too many of the fun things to get to where we are today. So it is going to take time for it to come off. So let's give our bodies time to adjust to the weight loss. Try not to compare your results to everyone else who's losing at these crazy rates. My first month felt really fast, which is why I took a break. I needed to make sure that my body isn't gonna hate me. So give your body time to adjust to the weight loss and you'll have a better quality of life during this entire journey. Okay, friends, I hope you found this video helpful. And if you did find it helpful, please subscribe. And if you know anyone that might benefit from this information, I hope you'll share. Thank you so much, and until next time.